All right, we're gonna try this motherfucker again because I fucked up some shit. we, what's the best thing? Yeah. Everybody fucks up, right? We got Converge Media CEO Omari in the building. We're gonna get this show started. Everybody like, share, subscribe, do all that good shit. We in here popping it. We gonna get right back to you with the Legendary Dope Show. Let's get it popping. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. It is time. The Legendary Dope Show with the beautiful, the lovely, the amazing, my favorite chocolate woman in the entire world, Elisha Michelle.
Let me reel it in because this is like, okay, long applause. Thank you. Okay, so this is like really a full circle moment here because, you know, everybody has kind of witnessed what I have done with Legendary AF and me manifesting getting Converge Media to come cover the event. And we have the guy, and I did not even know you were the guy until I started looking up your stuff. Like, this is the guy. Everyone's like, we're trying to get Converge to come and do our stuff and come to our events. This is the guy. So you guys make sure you guys follow him. We have Omari Salisbury in the building. Big O.
What's happening?
How you feeling?
Man, I feel fantastic. First and foremost, can I actually tell you how I feel?
Yes.
First and foremost, man, I'm like ecstatic to be here in your studio. Man, so happy to be here in Tacoma 253 Stand Up.
Period.
This studio is so dope. El Rock over there doing his thing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The whole crew is here. And I'm comfortable. And the reason why I say I'm comfortable is if you know me, you see me lately, like, man, we in TV studios here and there and at Fox and at KUOW, the Seattle Times and all this and that. Man, I get to come down here to Tacoma and be with my people.
Yes.
So, man, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I'm super excited to have you because yes, you have been doing your thing. You're on Fox Seattle with you're with Bill, you with Kim, and now you with Elisha Michelle on the Legendary Dope Show in Tacoma. Okay?
In that order too, by the way.
Studio. Okay, so you have been doing your thing for a long time. I really just want to like share with the people about your journey because you have the resume is out of this world. When I started looking up your stuff and what you have done for the community, just to be a voice for our people, it was almost emotional for me. And I just learned so much stuff about you. So I just want to be able to educate anybody who's watching, like, we're really in the presence of greatness. Like, this is like no joke right here. So I just want to talk about like the beginning, the journey, and like where you're going next. We're going to talk about the Big O show. We're going to get to know you. So I just want to thank you again for, this is like really an honor.
Thank you, first and foremost. But, you know, what's kind of dope maybe about everything you just said and maybe what people will learn tonight, or today as I was watching the show, is that when I met you, I introduced myself as a camera operator.
Yep.
For Back to Besa. I'm like, man, I'm Besa's cameraman.
Yep.
And people, you know, but I just say that in a sense to set the tone of what we're talking about here is like, you know, moving with a sense of humility. Of just, you know, it's like you surprised now.
Yeah.
You got this interview. You had to do all this research. You're like, man, who's am I sitting down with?
Man.
But when I met you, you know, I'm like, man, I'm just Besa's camera operator here. I'm here to produce some stuff.
So much more than that. This is the guy. Whenever you guys are like, we got to get our event on, this is the guy. So you guys make sure. Because they'd be like, hey, you're locked in with Besa guys. Can you guys get, I'm like, nope, this is the guy. You got to reach out to him. There's a whole forum on the website and follow the rules, do what you got to do, get on the show.
Yeah, you ain't got to go to the forum, don't worry though.
Look, I'm tapped in, period. I'm tapped in, okay? Okay, so I just want to talk about the beginning. The resume is crazy. Did you always know that this is something that you were destined to be, or what you were gonna do?
Man, so let me tell you something, Grant. I didn't realize that I was gonna end up in media, and it is important though, like to say, especially the young people that are figuring it out, is like if you're passionate about something, that might be where you end up.
Yeah.
Because like I wrote my first book when I was 5 years old, and I was on the school newspaper in college. I was on college radio, WRVS 89.9 ECSU, Black College Broadcaster of the Year, by the way. But in college though, I studied geology because I loved earth science, and so I actually have a degree in geology, a minor in environmental science, and yes, if you've never met one before, say hello to a black geologist.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Got a degree from a historically black college university down in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it was like, yo, this is in me. And I should have realized it though, because like my mom and my dad, 50 years ago, they opened the first black-owned photographic portrait studio in this part of America, in the Central District. So as a little kid, I'd be in the dark room with my dad. He's developing photos and everything. But like, I knew media excited me, but career path, my mom was always like, man, you need to go to medical school, or you need to go be a doctor and all this and everything else. So, I'm following kind of, what my mom is encouraging. And it was dope, you know what I'm saying? But what changed the whole thing, right? So I'm doing my college radio. I'm covering basketball, and I played football in college. So after I graduated, covering football and everything else, the CIAA tournament, right? That's like the CIAA is one of the oldest black college conferences. Like out here, there's the Pac-12 or the Big Ten, the CIAA, and so I actually have a job after graduation, and I'm running the environmental research lab there at the college. And there's a picture somewhere, me in my lab coat, everything,
That's crazy.
like I'm really I'm testing water and all kinds of stuff. But I would still be on the radio at the games. So I go to the CIAA tournament, and it's in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And at the time, you had teams like North Carolina Central, Virginia Union, Fayetteville State, Norfolk State. And so everybody's playing. It's their basketball tournament. And I come there and I bring this big old computer, kind of old. I bring this big old computer and I'm there in the press room, just really focused. And at the same time, so Daddy O is there. And people might not know Daddy O. It's cool. He was an original member of Stetsasonic, but he produced a lot of the music for Biggie and Mary J. Blige.
Oh, wow.
So in that press room, everybody's like, yo, Daddy O is here. And all these guys who are in media, they're giving Daddy O their resume, they doing this and that and everything else. And me, I was just sitting there focused on like writing game stories, doing reports and everything else. Real Networks had just launched their streaming platform, actually here in Seattle. So I'm doing like streaming way back when, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not paying no attention. I see Daddy O. I'm like, yo, man, it's nice to meet you, man. Your music's dope. And I just stay minding my own business. And just remember what my mama always told me, son, leave things better than you found it, right? And so I'm like, man, our university, we're a small black college. People, you talk about black colleges, you talk about Howard, Hampton, North Carolina A&T. These are massive colleges. Our school had maybe 1,000 students, something like that. So it was a small college. And so I'm like, let me do the best I can. And don't you know, the last day of the tournament, I'm getting ready to pack up my big, heavy computer and drive back to Elizabeth City. Daddy O was like, yo, Omari. I was like, what's up, Daddy O? He was like, yo, you ain't even really like come talk to me. Everybody else in here in media, they giving me their resumes or whatever. I said, man, I'm a geologist, bro. I said, man, the school just gave me a week to come here and, and do my reporting on the radio and everything else. I'm getting ready to go back to my lab. He was like, bro, he's like, you got so much talent. And I was like, well, man, thank you. He was like, let me do something for you. let me set up a meeting with you and Mike Antonoro. Nooch, who's hella big now, ESPN. Mike Antonoro is huge. At the time, Mike Antonoro was at AN1, right?
Nice.
And he was like, bro, I'm down here from AN1 and we launching some new joint called Hoops TV. And he was like, let me just set up a meeting. I was like, yeah, okay, it's cool. But, man, I'm a geologist. I really envision myself maybe being a weatherman with some flavor in an actual line, though. Because ain't no weatherman you ever see. They always got a bad line. Now I ain't got no hair. But back then, my joint would have been icy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, it's a cold weather front coming through here. They'd be like, damn, the weatherman fine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's kind of what I envision my future. And so, man, he set up a meeting for me, and I flew to New York. And in one day, I met with Mike Antonoro, and in one day, I went from being a geologist to a writer and a producer for AN1 and for Hoops TV, and for the next 2 years. And what they did there, in the bases was in Paoli, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philly. This was the dopest job I ever had. They gave me an American Express card and a brand new Canon XL1 and said, go across America and get stories.
Wow.
And for 2 years, and I'm like 21, 22 years old. For 2 years, I went all across America. I went to every Final Four, NBA Finals, Sweet 16, big city, small city, everywhere in between. And, a lot of the stuff people saw at AN1 mixtapes and Ball Above All, like I was on tour with the Rucker Park guys, with Future, I'll Be Right Back, all these guys in big cities, small cities across America, right? And I like to tell that story for a few different reasons, is that one, if you just focus on doing the best job you can do, if you focus on just trying to leave things better than you found it, you never know who's watching. I had no idea that Daddy O was sitting there in that press room watching me the whole time. While everybody else was out kicking it and everything else, I was just sitting there at my computer, writing game stories, trying to figure out the streaming, going live, all this stuff. It's 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. But he was watching. And that, it's when preparation meets opportunity. And I got the opportunity, I flew up to New York, and in one day, my career changed from being a geologist to being a writer and to being a producer and ultimately, filmmaker and everything else.
Emmy award winner.
But yeah, it came a few.
There's so much more that you can cover.
I got a little bit of hardware. I got some nominations. Feel like I got beat out on one, but and so I'll fast forward on that, right? So I was there at Hoops TV and AN1 for a while. They were really ahead of their time, to be honest with you, because the way that people consume content now, back then, internet was slow, GPRS, LTE, it was crazy. You really had to be sitting at the crib with a computer, right? It's not like that. But before that, though, before I went to Hoops TV, when I was in college, my brother Kun, you might know DJ Kun Love, he was the Def Jam rep.
Goodness.
For Seattle to come. Man, what?
Yeah.
Kun well respected. And guys, Rob Love, who used to run National Street promotions for Def Jam, they know Kun. Kun's in the books.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so Kun was doing all this promo and everything. And while I was in college, I got to meet all these guys at Def Jam. I go up to New York. You know what I'm saying? Meet all the guys from Rockefeller and from Murder Inc., but mostly like Def Jam as a whole, right? And so that relationship and knowing all those guys and, helping out with radio promo when they come down there to Hampton Roads, Virginia and all this stuff, guys out in Seattle kind of knew that I knew people, right? And so then my man was like, yo, I'm trying to bring Ja Rule to Africa. And I was like, and Kun passed on it, right? Kun was like, man, I ain't got time for this. But you know me, I'm like, man, figure it out. And so that opened the door, and ultimately we did bring Ja Rule to Africa. It was like a decade later. But yeah, Ja and all kinds of people, they came over there, right? But so anyway, I leave AN1. He's like, man, selling me on Tanzania and Africa and concerts. And I was like, bro, man, listen, I don't feel comfortable talking to nobody over at Murder Inc. about no concert in Africa in somewhere I ain't never seen or been before. And so, man, I got on a plane, The trip now is fast, but I went from Seattle to Atlanta to Cape Verde, Cape Verde to Johannesburg, Johannesburg to Dar es Salaam.
Oh my goodness.
But the thing is, I landed in Tanzania, and in the first 3 days, I met everybody that I'd ever need to know to be able to have a transformative career and life in that part of the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and when I landed there, after a few days, I said, this right here, this is where I'm supposed to be. And landed in Tanzania and moving across East Africa. And I met Joseph Kusaga, who's the founder of Converge Media Group, and so many radio stations and TV stations and concerts and stuff. And these guys really pushed my career. Like, it was amazing, right? So I got a crazy story. I've been almost 60 countries. But like when I landed in Tanzania, hanging with Joe and hanging with my guy Rashid, rest in peace, that little blue passport that I had, because people would always hustle guys in Africa. You try to buy a transmitter from somebody in Germany, and then you got to send the money, and then you get it, and it ain't what you wanted, or it don't work, and you're jammed up. You're in Africa now. They're like, ah, ha, ha. You know what I'm saying? And so I used to fly around the world to procure equipment, or go to conferences and all kinds of things. I've been to so many countries and so many places, and I can say this on your podcast, I've actually snuck into more countries than most people have visited in a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Because some places you don't even want to pull out that blue book. You just be like, look, fam,
I'm
just over here, man. You know, how can we work something out? And that TV show Banged Up Abroad, that's a whole nother podcast for you, because, man, your boy been locked up in a few different places.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, but, you know, it's good personality and a whole lot of game that, you know, I walk up out of there. You know, these days I go back to the same places. They're like, yeah, Big O, you're our guy. We see you on TV. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God. That is amazing. So I did see you have been to a lot of, I think when I looked online, it said 65 countries.
Yeah.
65.
Nah, I've been there. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere like air, from Maine to Spain and Turkey to Albuquerque. You feel me? The earth is my turf, man.
That's that
you know
CD,
what I'm saying?
You know,
it's like this is town business. But you know what I'm saying? This is my mama. You know what I'm saying? My dad really come out like you was in the city. My parents got divorced and my dad had moved to Washington D.C. But he had still they sent me an atlas as a kid, and I see the whole world. And my mama, you know, it was 29th and Jackson, you know, when it was funky in the CD. And my mama would always be like, son, you know, your world's not going to be defined by this neighborhood. My mama bought me National Geographic magazines as a kid. And so, you know, from a little kid, my parents was always telling me, the world is yours, son.
Yes.
The world is yours. And I got that passport, and I was like, man,
Mount.
I ain't look back.
No, that's
because
right.
I'm like, the world is mine. My parents told me from a little kid, son, don't be afraid. And I'll tell you this, it's a lot of people, it'd be funny, right? And when we talk about like how we are as a culture sometimes, is that we got guys that is hella hard. You know, we know they hard. They run up on you. You know, they might got strapped. It might get funky. And I was having a conversation one day, and somebody told me, it was like, man, you know what? I know a lot of people that's hard, but nigga, ain't too many that's brave enough to get on a plane and go to a country where you don't know nobody, don't speak the language, and still come back with a deal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people would be scared. Be scared to be like, oh yeah, you know what? We got a flight for you here to Yemen, or we got a flight for you here to Oman. Oh, you don't speak Arabic? Yeah, you don't know nobody there. You don't know no man. There's so many countries that I landed in around the world. I ain't speak the language. I didn't know nobody there, but I knew there was an opportunity. Did I always win? Did I always come home with opportunity? No. I like to tell people that the flight, you know, I lived in Dubai for like 4 years. Wow. Abu Dhabi. I launched a TV station there, you know, in the Middle East. But before that, though, you know, I tell people that flight home from Dubai to Seattle, when the nonstop started, it was 15 hours. And I was saying that 15 hours was long enough for me to try to cry out as many tears as I could, because I failed. Like, I failed so many times. and to be able to come back home, you know, with grand ideas, man, and see, I'm gonna be overseas and I'm gonna do this and that. And I'm gonna be in Istanbul and it's gonna work like this, this and that. And it ain't work out. And we'll come back home on that long flight and you sitting there in the window, hoping ain't nobody watching, and you crying those tears, and you go back to your mama basement and, you know, them words of encouragement, son, it's all right. It ain't over. And all those lessons learned, and then you muster it up and you figure it out and go back overseas and battle it out. And man, it was years of that before I had a breakthrough, you know, internationally, and being able to make moves. And it went from like those kind of tears to actually like going to the south of France to, you know, to Cannes and, you know, signing a deal with Simon Cowell for East Africa's Got Talent.
Nice.
You see what I'm saying? Or going to MIP and all these kind of things. You know, it was years of flying in the back of the plane by the toilet, of just being happy to be on the airplane.
Yes.
To then
Ain't
being
no better
like,
feeling than being on the plane, man.
that I'm up here. I'm up here in the front, or to the point that it's like seeds planted decades ago is also why, like, even Besa was over there. Besa was over in Tanzania, Africa, kicking it. She was in Amsterdam, all of that. Those are seeds planted years ago, back when I was failing internationally, but I was a good person. And so people was like, yeah, we're rocking with you. And so even like last year, I might get on the plane here in a little bit. My dude, Cecil Hammond in Lagos, Nigeria, Flytime Entertainment, you know, he's the one who started the Flytime Festival 20 years ago. Wow. That they call like Daddy December, and everybody wants to be in Lagos and all this kind of stuff. That's my man's. So for every year, you know, I was over there last year. Wow. in Lagos and everything else. Also, it's crazy. This is live, but I have to put it somewhere. You know, I mean, he's my man. Like, you'll see pictures of me with Aliko Dangote, who's the richest black man on earth. Ooh. From Nigeria. Yeah, you know, just popping it on his boat in Lagos. Like, we could do a whole episode on, man, my adventures on the continent, and it will be mind-blowing because some of the biggest bosses and boss moves, my first time on private jets and all this kind of stuff, everything was over there in the continent and just moving it. And so, yeah, you know, I don't just listen, and let me just ground everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's a poor kid from the Central District, 29th and Jackson, went to Garfield High School. You feel me? And so, like, that's the thing is, like, to be honest with you, if I'm gonna just kind of put this all in one bucket here real quick. I go to the continent, I get on with all the right people, and I start my own kind of business over there. Some win, some lose. But the thing is that if you just good people, someone's always watching. So even when I got to the continent, people created opportunities. You know, I had a radio show over there, me and DJ Topspin, and it was sponsored by Sprite. It's the Countdown Show with me, the Big O, and DJ Topspin right here on 102.6 Choice FM.
I love his radio voice.
Millions. I mean, the radius on it is like, I mean, it's crazy, the listenership over there, Choice and Clouds and everything else. But like, you know, I go overseas, and that hard work. And if people think in media they working hard, the reason why, this is some good game. Because even though it's legendary dope, man, you know, I know it's a whole lot of game. Let me give you some good game. So I get over there, and, you know, I'm working in the media space like we doing right here, right? And the thing is, over there, this is a developing country. So, man, you know, you're heading home. You might have electricity, you might not. You know what I'm saying? The road might be like passable, it might not. You get to your house, you know what I'm saying? You might have, everything's prepaid. Not anymore, but back then it's prepaid. So it's credit. You had that credit in your phone to make a call.
Yeah.
You might have credit in your phone, you might not. You get up the next morning. You know what I'm saying? Still maybe no credit in your phone. You get on the road that might be crazy or whatever, 2 to 3 hours to get there. You get to your office. Your office might have power, might not have power. The generator might have electricity, might not have electricity. Internet is variable. So you very well might have to put everything on a flash drive, then go to an internet cafe and then try to upload all your stuff, and then and then if you had to go to Nairobi to get on a satellite, you had to go rush to the airport, put it on the Kenya Airways flight, get it to Nairobi.
Wow.
And this was every day. And these are, man, East Africa had some of the most amazing media talent I've ever met in my life, but it was every day. So you can imagine already as kind of a hustler coming from the CD, being right there in that East African, media ecosystem. The difference is why you see Converge moving, and we also move humbly, by the way, because, somebody like Big O and Converge, we could just be popping off. Niggas be wanting to surf and swag and all that. We could have episodes of that.
Yeah.
But, we just some humble people. But the reason why people see Converge move the way it does is because I never forgot how hard I worked on the streets of East Africa, in Tanzania, in Nairobi, in Kigali, in Kampala, in Stone Town, Zanzibar, to get it done. And it was every single day to be able to stay in this hustle. So I came home, I'm like, shit, everything works. The internet's
Half
fast.
the obstacles are gone.
All this stuff is here. I'm like, shit, I would be crazy to now reduce my work ethic to everything else. And so we move. I tell people I grew up in an African media house.
Yeah.
And I really mean that it was the media professionals on the continent of Africa who really taught me how to move in the best way. And still, when you can't, like here in America, there's these possibilities of dreaming big and connecting the dots. At the time there, man, it took a lot. And so to be around people who continuously would dream big every single day, it's like, come on. I come back home to the town, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this.
Yeah. And a way of doing it above everyone else, because I feel like that situation, someone going over there and having all those obstacles, they would literally cry and quit. And it instilled something in you, and it has definitely showed with what you have done with Converge. It has showed in your journey, because, like I said, I did the background, and I'm like, wow, this is really impressive. It was almost emotional for me to see how many great things that you have done, just to be someone who speaks for our community. And so you, I want to fast forward a little bit and talk about 2020.
Yeah, and so we won't stay there too long.
Okay.
It's still a lot of trauma and PTSD. I was just in court the other day around the civil trial of Antonio Mays Jr. But while I'm on here, I'm gonna pop my shit, and I think that it was some bullshit that the judge and Antonio Mays Jr. civil trial. We found a tape of Antonio Mays. I didn't even realize I had filmed 5 years ago. And to bring people up to speed, there was 2 murders in the CHOP and 3 murders altogether in the Seattle protest. That was Horace Lorenzo Anderson, who was killed around Juneteenth. There was Summer Taylor, who I was also there. I was on I-5 when a car came on I-5. It hit Summer, and Diaz Love and a few other people. Summer Taylor passed away. Diaz Love is living with injuries. And then there was Antonio Mays Jr. And Antonio Mays Jr. was a 16-year-old who actually ran away from home in California and LA. And he came up to Seattle because he said he wanted to be part of his generation's civil rights movement. And Antonio Mays Jr. was murdered in the CHOP and about 100 feet away from me. And his dad had hit the city, I mean, basically the city of Seattle was like, man, your boy was a thug, he was a criminal, and all this stuff, right? And his dad for 5 years had been like, nah, if anything, my that wasn't my son, my son was all about, the change and all these things. And so for 5 years. And so it just so happened that NPR, the Seattle Times, and KUOW doing a podcast about the protests. And they interviewed me, and they had hella questions. I was like, man, this shit's traumatic, dog.
Yeah.
And so I gave them the hard drive of all of our footage.
Yeah.
And they spent hundreds of hours going through all of our footage. And just some weeks ago, they found a shot of Antonio Mays Jr. And in the shot, he's being like, hey, you know what? I'm all about protect and serve, but police need better training and we need to make systemic change and all this kind of stuff. And it was mind blowing because the whole time the city of Seattle and SPD's narrative was that this boy was up here causing trouble. And so now we reveal a tape that's found that's been sitting for 5 years that showed that Antonio Mays Jr. is exactly who his dad said he was. The judge admits the tape into the trial. And guess what? He says, you know what? The jury can see the footage, but I'm not going to let them hear Antonio's voice. And man, you talk about somebody, but I was so broke down. I was like, after 5, because it was Antonio literally speaking from the grave.
Yeah.
And so then they asked me to go to court on Monday, and I could describe what was happening on the tape, but I couldn't say what Antonio said. And so I'm sitting there at the jury, and like so badly, I just wanted to like just tell the jury like, yo, da-da-da-da-da, this and that. And I don't know how that trial, man, you know, I'm praying for Antonio Mays Sr. and everything else. But that was top of mind on 2020. I know you want to talk about 2020 in totality, but you know what I'm saying? People should know that even though we hop in the time machine to go back to 2020, 5 years later, people are still looking for justice and closure from the Seattle protests.
Yeah, that's real. That was really heartbreaking. I saw the video. I was able to hear the words, and I wish that they really would. That's crazy that they wouldn't allow that, you know, for someone to just have closure and to paint that poor young boy, you know, in such a bad way. So
you know, but that's what I was just saying. Like, so I will say this with 2020. What's crazy is, you know, we was just out there, to be honest with you, reporting for our neighborhood. And the thing is about protests in Seattle, and I really was kind of like, you know, I was just trying to see how it was going to go down.
Yeah.
Because protests in Seattle, the white kids get away with everything. So even in protests, there's hierarchy of it. You see what I'm saying? And so different protests over the years, May Day and all this and that, the white kids get to go and do all the stuff black kids can't do. And even some of the Seattle protests near the end, you'd have 30, 40 white kids going through, breaking out windows, trying to set stuff on fire night after night.
Yeah.
And we know that shit would go down for one night in Seattle if it was all the homies sitting there going through Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, But the Seattle protests, it propelled Converge. Converge was 5 years old by the time of the Seattle protests, and we had already started the morning update show, so we was already on air and everything.
Nice.
And we rode into the protests, and man, it just turns out that people really fuck with the truth.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of media out there and representing a lot of different things and a lot of different ideology, and we were just like, man, we keeping it real for the hood. And we had no idea the whole world was watching.
Yeah.
Like, we was days into it where somebody was like, hey, man, you know.
The whole world is watching.
You guys had like 700,000 people on the stream. I was like, nah, man, it's just our neighborhood. Wait, morning update show, we get like a few hundred because we're talking to the neighborhood.
No, the whole world.
And covering that, it was like the mainstream media and the streets have never recovered from 2020 because the mainstream media, they took everything SPD and the city was saying, hook, line, and sinker. And they were basically agents of propaganda for the Seattle Police Department. And Converge was one of the few platforms that would be like, man, the police are lying. You know what I'm saying? We're here, we're on the ground. And because the mainstream media reinforced everything the police was saying, that's why when it got funky out there in the protests, the mainstream media got pushed out. And Converge was one of the only media that was in there. And then, so in 2020, you see me on CNN, on the BBC. The AP, Associated Press, used to call me like all the time just to fact check, Omari, what's going on the ground. Time Magazine, all kinds of shit, man. Like all over the world. Like,
all
man,
over
Converge
the world. It was all over the
big.
world.
And your guy, you know what I'm saying? The guy who has a face for radio, I was saying, my shit was everywhere. I'm like,
oh shit.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I'm like, man, even Shaniqua, who didn't want to give me time of day in college, because it's like, oh, you just on college radio. Shaniqua hit me up years later, like, hey, I
Shanique,
see
we get on out of here.
Yeah. I'm like, ain't that something? But because we was just out there keeping it a buck, you know, like something interesting happened, right? And like I said, it's hella traumatic for me for the protests. I think like viewers who want to know more, man, you just search like Seattle protests, Converge Media, and everything else. Like I said, man, I was there for 3 murders, all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah. And so it's not a space that I want to stay in here long talking to you. But I will say this, is that everybody was chasing your boy. You know, from the right, you know, and even for our footage. People, Tucker Carlson would hit us as people, and Rachel Maddow would hit us.
Wow.
And you know, I'm so proud of it. We never sold any of our footage because we knew that the people who wanted our footage, they didn't want the best for Seattle.
Yeah.
They just wanted to drive their numbers. And so the only footage that we ever sold or licensed was to the New York Times. And if you look at the protests, I will tell people this, go look up Pink Umbrella, and that's my footage there. And it's been millions and millions and millions of times. That was really the start of how it really got funky in Seattle. And I was right there, the Pink Umbrella clip. The New York Times licensed that from us. And the New York Times had 50 police chiefs across America look at that tape. And all 50 were like, yeah, SPD's fucked up. you know what I'm saying? But the point is, we held our footage. And Converge had a chance to be hella big. I could have been one of them talking heads on one of these shows, and we could have been whatever, but we ain't never come out there for that. We came out to be in service of our community. So after the protests, we just went back home to the CD. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, knowing who you serve and why you serve is important. And something else I'll tell you is that if you don't know where you're going, any distraction looks like an opportunity. And so... having a moral compass and knowing who you serve and why you serve allowed us to just go back home to the CD. And it's a lot of people who done rode the coatways of the protests, and they got this show and that show, and they're national correspondents and everything because they're looking for the next opportunity. We just want to look to be able to serve our community. And that's why we're still here.
And you guys do an amazing work. When it comes to that. You guys are very consistent. Every time I'm on any kind of social media platform, I'm seeing Besa, I'm seeing Trey, I'm seeing Deontay, I'm seeing Converge blogs, I'm seeing what you guys are doing in the community, showcasing businesses, Black businesses, events, and it's really amazing what you guys are doing. How many shows do you think you guys have done with the businesses of our region? Don't forget Legendary AF, 2 of them.
So, all right. So I'm gonna ask you to repeat that one for me in a second, right? But let me give guys some context, right? So right now in this minute, we actually got a small number of our own shows. At one point, we had 16 shows on our platform. Oh yeah. You know, because it was something, so like a lot of times when people build something, they, you know, of course they're building for themselves, but they really build it for themselves.
Yeah.
Converge was never conceived like that. Converge was always supposed to be a platform for our folks, for content creators and everything else, right? And so at the time, our anchor show, the Morning Update Show, and the Morning Update Show, man, it was so much love and care that went into that show. But we opened up our platform. You had Truly Unruly with the True Fonts on there. Weird at Night. Remember Weird at Night, Besa?
I sure do. I had to upload it.
Yeah. You had what's you call Julia Clapback Culture. You had, I mean, there were so many. Yeah, The Truth with Proof, The Factors. There were so many shows on the platform, and it was cool. And there's no reason why they're not on the platform. It's just shows run their course. People move on. They might get married, have kids, move out of town, all that kind of stuff. And so, but from jump, we've been a place like Converge could always easily be like, nah, we just rocking with us.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really the problem in a lot of things where people is on. I'm like, man, I feel like we ain't even all the way on, you know, and I'm supposed to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? I feel like my mama used to say it's miles to go before I sleep. We got a long way to go. But I'm like, shit, if we even halfway on, let's kick in the door for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's create opportunity for everybody. And so over the years, you know, we have the Day with Trey, with Trey Holiday. We have We Live in Color with Deontay Damper. Art of the Matter with Takia Ward. We're bringing back Clapback Culture with Julia Jesse. You know, and by the way, those are queens of Converge. Is Besa Gordon, is Julia Jesse, Takia Ward, and Treyana Holiday. And then, of course, we have Back to Besa. And when you talked about storytelling, right? You were like, oh, how many stories, this and that. So just on Back to Besa, not even if we consider all the other shows that we have, Back to Besa is now 2.5 years old. Yeah. So we're in our third season, the way that it works. And so this was 23, 24, 25. So in June, Back to Besa is going to be 3 years old, right? And what that means in TV is that means 156 episodes.
Wow.
But just to let you know right now, so right now at a guesstimate, we're at like maybe 130 or 125 or something like that episodes. It's like December, right? But that's not the mind-boggling number. Even though delivering a show week in and week out is crazy, right? We've told almost 700 stories.
There it is, right there.
700,
Yep.
including
Legendary AF and the story of Elisha Michelle. So
700. So I want you to think about this, right? Is that Back to Besa? Listen, can I tell you a small story about Back to Besa here real quick?
of course.
Because these aren't, you know, I know you're going to
Please.
talk to Besa, but these aren't the kind of things you would expect someone like herself to say, right? And so,
I'm like, well, we can tell my business.
so we sitting there, and so we win the Emmy in 2022.
Yes.
And this was the Governor's Award. This is the highest honor that the chapter that represents the northwestern part of America can give. And we win an Emmy. And the Sheila Oliver, who was the general manager at Fox 13 at the time, from there, they started reaching out to us, right? It was a year before we actually did anything. Because the first thing I told Fox was, I was like, man, this is cool, but we ain't checking no black box. We not getting on TV and doing something just so you can say you got somebody black. I'm like, I'm good. I said, black people already like us. You know, we're hella black already. But it turns out that they actually had a strategy, and their strategy is they wanted to make their viewership younger. And Besa was also on Hits 106.1, you know, at the time, and 4 other stations across America, and all these other. And so, like, Fox 13's approach wasn't really like, we need some black folks. It was like, how do we make our audience, you know what I'm saying, younger?
Yeah.
And so, you know, we were able to work through that. I'm like, okay, this is cool. It looks like we're going to do something. And so we created a concept with Back to Besa, really based on a lot of the storytelling Converge has been telling for the last, you know, I don't know, at that point, 7 years. So we knew we had the content. And now you got Besa Gordon, this host and everything, right? And this is something right here that if you know that you got it, you got to be ready to walk away with it, right? So everybody's feeling great. We got some stuff coming together, and now this is May 11th. The show is supposed to start July 1st, right? So this is contract, because I remember I was in Chicago. This is the same day of my son's graduation. So I'm on a Zoom call in Chicago, and I had talked to Besa earlier. I said, Besa, we need to be ready to walk. Because the contract, originally, all the discussion was Fox 13. But then the contract, it said Fox 13 plus. And Besa's one who caught that. She was like, man, this says plus. And so for people, you know, maybe people might know, one is the broadcast channel. This is Fox 13. Fox 13 Plus is dope too, and we appreciate everybody who tunes in on Fox 13 Plus every Sunday at 10 a.m. or 8 p.m. We're rocking with you. You know what I'm saying? But for the purposes of this story here, I tell Besa, I said, Besa, we gonna walk and we're not gonna blink an eye. You know what I'm saying? But I said, we not going on a goddamn Plus channel.
Right.
And so we had a meeting, the meeting starts, and I immediately bring this up. I said, man, this is great. Everything, and by the way, everything before then and since then with Fox 13, we are our Fox family.
Yeah.
Besa Gordon is a star.
Period. And is.
And I said, why would we put our star in the far reaches of the universe where her light can't reach people's eyes right here on this planet? I said, we absolutely are not going on the Plus channel. And I said, if we're not going to be on Fox 13 on the broadcast channel, we're leaving. Because I said, if you put us on the Plus channel, you're going to make us apologists. We're going to be your PR firm. Oh, that's cool. We see you on Fox, but why you guys on the Plus? Or you know what I'm saying? Or you guys say, man, they kind of dealing with black people, but they not. They put you on the Plus. I said, you guys, we going to spend all of our time apologizing for you. I say, either Besa Gordon or Star goes on the broadcast channel or we're leaving today. Sheila Oliver, she's a boss. She's now just retired. Sheila Oliver was like, okay, I hear that. And what Sheila did is that 10:30 spot on Fox 13 Seattle preempts national programming. That 10:30 slot, why it's right there, and there's also a replay on the Plus, is because Fox 13 Seattle preempts national programming to make sure that Back to Besa is there. You see what I'm saying? And now we got two. It's actually played 3 times a week now.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? But I bring that story up because it's like, if you really believe in something and people be sitting there on these deals, like, oh, I got this deal, but they want me to do this. Man, I'm like, you know what? Me personally and as a company, discovered Besa Gordon. We cultivated Besa Gordon. We developed in Besa Gordon. Now, the Besa's at our own track as well, but as a company, the next one is, you're not going to convince me that Besa Gordon ain't a star that can shine so bright here. You're not going to relegate her to the far reaches of the universe. People like, how do I get the Plus channel? Where I got to tune into? Everybody know how to find Fox 13. And also the Plus people, clearly you know how to find it too. Thank you. I appreciate you. But you know, when you believe in your people, that's how you got to move.
Yeah.
When you believe, but also it's a trust from her too. Now, one time was she like, well, you know, I would just be happy to kind of be on TV, or, you know, the Plus is cool with me or whatever.
No, F that.
We moved together.
Look, I'm hype.
we moved together 100%. I said, we're going to walk out this room here today. And either we walking out with a deal on broadcast, or we walking out and we just going back to our studio. But, you know, keeping it, when people talk about 10 toes down and keeping it 100 and standing on business, stand on that business to where here's your opportunity to now, with somebody like Besa, who since she was a little girl, was like, I always wanted to be, especially on TV, but specifically at the time it was called Q13. So now you got to think about that. She's, for years since she was a little girl, been like, man, I'm going to be on Q13. And here's the deal right in front of her. But you just got to be on the Plus channel. And so for her to be like, nah, man, you know what? We moving together. You feel me? And the thing with Back to Besa is, what's so dope about it is Converge. A lot of stuff, like, we've been making stuff for years, right? But Back to Besa, and Besa Gordon in particularly, we're able to hold this mirror up to our community members. And not only just here in Seattle and Portland and Anchorage and Spokane and Boise, you know, in Yakima, Tri-Cities, even in Vantage. We see you up there, you know what I'm saying? And it's a mirror that our people have never seen before themselves. You know, this show puts paint where it ain't.
Yeah.
And the uplift is real. And imagine 700 stories. Now, you, like you said, you've had 2 on yourself. Imagine that, 700
That's a lot
of those stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. This shit ain't easy.
Yeah.
But, you know, we just make it look good. And Besa Gordon already fine, so she
Period.
just already
Plan
look good.
is.
So it's not difficult for her. But for the rest of us grunts that actually work on the show, you know what I'm saying? The rest of us grunts that actually be sitting there, you know, in the mud and editing and writing and clipping and graphics. This ain't no easy feat. It's a commitment. And that conversion, if someone was to ask you any word, commitment is the number one word.
Yeah.
And there's even people at Converge. I look for commitment. When people are like, man, I'm trying to do something with Converge, this and that. I want to know, where else in your life do you have a commitment? Even if your commitment is like, man, every Thursday at 4 o'clock, I go to my gardening club meeting. Okay, that means you have a commitment somewhere in your life. Because, I'll take somebody, it's happened, I'll take somebody who work at Jiffy Lube who don't know nothing about media. But if they got a commitment and a passion, I can teach them everything. I don't want somebody who knows everything, but don't have no commitment, don't understand our culture, being able to deliver for each other, keep our word, uplift each other. So as crazy as it sounds, we're a media company that don't be really looking for media people. We look for people whose values are aligned, because we can teach them all these other skills.
Yeah.
And that's why you see the Converge. I tell people all the time, I feel like we a record label, but we a record label, and it's real. You see, go look at the big O, go to my IG, go to Besa stuff. We move like a record label. Everything we do is like a press run, like we just dropped an album.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we're small. We're very small, because we all lean on each other, we love each other, and we don't ever want to let each other down, and we're committed to each other. And if you ever see that circle grow, know that the new person in the circle, we got a new guy in the circle, me, Gil, but he believes in the commitment of what we do. We're very small, and as somebody like Converge, we could turn on a switch and the swag be on 10.
Yeah.
Believe me. I can move around with awards and this,
Yeah.
that, like for reals.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, again, we know who we're in service of, and we're in service of our community.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Which is meaningful.
Yeah. That is beautiful, because representation, I feel like it really matters. And so having someone like Besa, who is a beautiful chocolate girl, seeing her on the screen is like, wow, this makes it makes it almost like a reality for anybody who's watching, who has those dreams. It's like, I could do this too. It's obtainable. Besa did it, you know what I'm saying? And to see people that come from areas where it's like, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of opportunities, being from the CD, where they think, there's a lot of stuff is going on, and crime and this and that, and you guys are really making a dream come true and showing that things are possible. You don't just have to sell drugs. You don't have to be getting into jail and in and out of the courts, and you don't have to, play basketball. You could do other things, and that's very important for our people, because I feel like that is missing. Even in 2025 today, it is still missing. So representation matters. It is so beautiful what you guys do. So if somebody was, and you already talked about it, you're like, you have a small, close-knit team, like a family, but if someone was like, I want to work for Converge, what would be some of the steps? They need to have commitment, right? And anything that they do, they don't necessarily have to have the media background, but like if somebody was interested in like trying to be a part of the team, what would they need to do to impress Big O and the Converge family? Asking for myself, asking for Jen, asking for a couple other people.
So, the thing is that impress, I think, is it's hard, not because it's hard to impress but it's like, so when this story started, when this interview started, I talked about Daddy O, and I talked about how I was in the media room there for a week, and I was just working, right? And I was oblivious, and I was just working. I think people should realize that, man, we always watching. Mark tells you he's he got some stuff going now. And actually Mark, so when Besa took a break from her show, you know what I'm saying, to focus on her skin and her health, Mark is an influencer or content creator from Seattle, Mark tells you. But like, I had been watching Mark for 6-7 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And actually Mark came to us, right? I had been watching Mark for months. Like, okay, I see how this guy's moving. And then when we launched the Support Black Business campaign almost a year ago, Besa reached out to Mark and was like, hey man, you know what? We're trying to raise awareness around some of these black restaurants that aren't doing well. man, would you be willing to go and make a reel and do some stuff or whatever? And Mark was like, oh man, what? First of all, he was like, well, I can't believe Besa Gordon's gonna be here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But secondly, you know, they came, he did his reel and all that, and then we, you know, it was dope. And we just continued to watch Mark, and it wasn't until 6 months later when Besa went on leave, and I called Mark. I said, you know, Besa's going on leave, Mark. Man, what do you think about hosting an episode of Back to Besa? And he filled in, and he killed it. He did an amazing job. And now, just 2 weeks ago, they were just in our studio because they got some show concept together. It's called The Influence. It's coming soon.
Nice.
But the thing is, and it's almost been a year. If a year ago, if Mark would have been like, hey, Mark tells you I'm an influencer from this, and that, I mean, I would have heard it and I would have received it and everything else. But the thing is like, he's with us and growing with us and everything else because we were able to sit back and watch with him not even knowing that we was watching.
Yeah.
And so with people who are out there, when you're doing stuff, and I want to tell people too, don't get caught up in some, oh man, this many likes and it went viral,
Yeah.
blah, 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 this many. Not looking for none of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for any of that. Oh, well, this one really went viral and this one was whatever, blah, blah, blah. It'd be the intangibles. See, a computer can analyze that and tell me like, oh, the virality and this, how many clicks forward and clicks back. That's not who we are at Converge. If we want to create that kind of content with people, we know how to do that and activate that. We're looking for the person behind it. We're looking for like, what motivates you? What are your dreams? What are your ambitions? What are your passions? We get to the camera shit, it might take a month before we talk about anything on camera.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Who are you as a person? Is it 100? The best thing about being in service of our community and not in service of like a brand or us trying to be like, oh, we got to go viral here or this or that there, is that we got no pressure. So we can focus on the people. And then we can get back to the camera. Oh, okay, well, clearly you know what to do with the camera over here. That's fine. We can leave that there. Let's focus on who you are. What's your character? What's your heart like?
Yeah.
How do you get down?
Yeah.
You feel me? That's the best way, like with Converge. And I want to tell you, speaking of you, is that the reason why we here today is because what I get from you, I could be wrong, right? If I'm wrong, you go ahead and check me on live TV. I got no problem. You know what I'm saying? I got lots of social capital, as they say, in the bank. I just, okay. Yeah. But if he goes that wrong off there, we're going to forgive him. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. But checking you out, I get the feeling that, like, somewhere deep in you, you're actually an introvert.
Yes.
But, like, you convinced yourself to live out loud.
This is true.
And that shit is so dope for me because that means that every day there's probably a small voice that's being like, you have to talk yourself into your dopeness daily.
Yep. Yep.
Dog.
Yep.
You know how filthy that is? You talk yourself into your dopeness daily and then for yourself, but then on top of that, then you put a camera on it and you're like, yo, and you move fearlessly.
Thank you.
Like, my nigga, I'm fucking with you the long way and not the wrong way.
Thank you.
It's that right there. That you wake up every day and be like, man, you know, I just want to be chilling over here, da-da-da-da-da. But you're like, you know what? Life is amazing. I deserve to live it out loud. And I'm going to live it out loud. I'm not going to let the small voices stop me. I'm going to live life out loud in my own kind of way and in my own kind of style. And I'm going to do the things that I want to do. You know what? And even if I fail here, I haven't failed in life. I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to do something new. And guess what? I'm going to surround myself with people who believe in this journey of living out loud. And we're going to take it and we're going to do something and we're going to disrupt the market and we're going to do some amazing things. That, my friend, is when I think about you
Thank you.
That's why I'm here on this
You almost
couch.
made me cry there for a second. Not too much, oh, not too much.
I'm just saying, that's why I'm here on this couch.
That's very so sweet. Thank
Because,
you.
man, I don't see, we all in marketing. We see flyer. Thank you for the nice flyer, TC. I'm on the flyer. See the marketing. I see all of those things. Everything. I see it. But imagine the disservice I would do for you if that's when my vision stopped. You see what I'm saying? My job is to look past all of that, to peel back, to see what's really happening. And so, that's why we here. Man, I don't be going out, not because I'm Bootsy. I'll be here,
Listen, I was at the nail shop when you called me, and I looked at my phone, and the lady had my hand, and I said, no, give me, I need to answer this right now when Big O is calling you, answer the phone, okay? And I was just so elated and just like, it is just so nice that you did this, and I appreciate you because every time that we talk, I always feel like, man, you really see me and what I have going on and what I'm trying to accomplish, and you're really about the people, and I'm really about the people. So it's just like, it's just a wonderful feeling when someone actually sees you and the hard work that you put in. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no, man, I see you. You know what I'm saying? I see El Rock. I see this space here, and what people need to understand is like this is commitment. Like this personified here, even though people see you on screen, the thing is like, I know what it is. You're not doing it by yourself. You know what I'm saying? And even your squad, your crew, who's just like, man, if all they can do is be like, yo, girl, you got it. Let me repost something.
Yeah.
Let me put something positive there. You're building something here.
Thank you.
Besa Gordon likes to say that, man, I didn't get here fast, but I definitely didn't get here alone.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, man, this teamwork makes the dream work. And what and somebody like Marvin's like, oh yeah, that's my people.
Yeah.
It's recognized.
Yep.
I say this, if I could add one more thing, you know what I'm saying? And shit, what else is dope too is I could talk to you all day. Basically, some people tell you like, man, I got 15 minutes for you. You know what I'm saying? Shoot me your 3 questions. I'll give you the best answer, and I gotta move. I mean, it's even. But I do want to say this, as we're in the presence of this star.
Yes.
We call Besa Gordon. You see what I'm saying? That like people should know that like this journey, it hasn't been easy. You feel me? And this show, I mean, clearly adds it's Besa's name and Besa's image and Besa's likeness and everything else. But man, Besa brings something very special. And it's hard. This show was hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a space I feel comfortable saying that. Because I want people out there to know that it's not like, oh, snap of a finger and it's this and that. I share that with you. When I go on these other platforms, I'd be like, huh, what? No, it's not that. You know what I'm saying? They be all right. They shouldn't see us sweat.
Yeah.
You feel me? But I know who we talking to here. It's very difficult, week in, week out, and to deliver.
Yeah.
Without fail, by the way, to deliver on broadcast TV and national TV. But man, Besa Gordon is so special.
Yes.
And what I really think is dope about Besa is that she's still the same person. And in this world that we live in of, Instagram self-awareness, or I did this thing and it's da-da-da-da-da, some other shit and everything else, Besa One exemplifies the culture of who we are at Converge. And then we just some humble people. Now we know how to pop off if we need to. You know what I'm saying? But we some humble folk.
Yeah.
But more than that, it's like people should know, and why she's a really good guest for you and for your audience, is this is somebody who all these things haven't changed her. Basically when we launched the show, it's just her. She's around the word girl. around the way, grew up from the Central District. And Besa been in so many bright lights and situations and first class flights and stages and all these kind of things. But she's still the same person. You know, years later after this show, hella approachable, you know, hella down to earth, rock with anybody and everybody, you know. And I just want to say that, man, we're so proud of her.
Yes.
We're so proud of her accomplishments and how she continues to grow and how she continues to develop. And you know what the best thing is? How she continues to take the whole hood with her.
Yes. Yes, for for real. Yes, I adore Besa. Like, you guys are really for the people, and that really is what matters. And it's almost time for us to get up out of here. But before we do, we have to talk about the Big O Show. We definitely have to talk about it.
I think, like, when that'll tell you something, because I was ready to end.
No,
I'm glad
we gotta talk about the Big O Show.
No, it wasn't. I was ready to end because of any other reason. But then, like, you know, so it's this is a great ending topic because she's dope.
Yeah.
But that I think kind of tell you like who we are. That is like, I'm not pressed. I'm gonna talk about it, but you see what I'm saying? I'd much rather spend my time uplifting everybody else than myself. But I'm gonna be a joyful receiver.
Yeah, because we're gonna talk about the show.
So the Big O Show, you know, we had the morning update show years ago. I talked about it. And the Big O Show is like when we bring in news and information back, Converge, people really, there is news and information on our platform, but it's presented in different ways. People learn a lot from Back to Besa.
Yeah.
Like a lot. There's a lot of news and information there. And even today with Trey. But, you know, as far as like really, you know, one-on-one, like I said, we just had the mayor-elect of Seattle, Katie Wilson,
he
there.
started hitting the ground running.
You know, we had a Seattle Care Chief, Chief Barton, Council Member Bob Kettle. I've got Mayor Harrell, you know, because I want to talk to him, even though he's on his way out, man. You know what I'm saying? We want to talk to him, hear about it. But then also it's a lot of reporting that's actually on our site now as well, whereweconverge.com, where we're really getting back into community and community news stories, call to action and everything else. The Big O Show is that. And the reason why it's the Big O Show, and I thought about it because I really don't ever want to show with my name on it. You know what I'm saying? It can only be like one, like Besa. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but morning update or the news shows are highly structured, and they should be.
Yeah.
You know, but the Big O can do kind of everything. And so you might catch me in the studio, on our studio, or you might catch me over there at Fox, or you might catch me like right here, or in the hood, or in community, or whatever. And so I wanted a show that matches my personality. You know, yeah. We do pre-recorded studio shows. I go live from my desk in our studio. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff might just be written, some stuff's photos, some stuff's whatever. You know, sometimes I just want to kick it and be like, where does Zawadi at? You feel me? But all of that fits into the Big O Show. And so, like, if people want to get news, information, and still just really be heard from the turf, you know, that's the best thing. Is like, I always want people to know, and like I just said with Besa, is like, man, you know what? We get it from the turf. You feel me? And, you know, and all as much as I talk, Maine to Spain, Turkey to Albuquerque, but still back here on the turf. And so when people want that street level perspective from somebody who you know could pop off in the boardroom or pop off at City Hall or at the state capitol or anything else, but could still come and chill with you and Big Mama and them while she over there doing her cataract medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's, you know, that's what it is. And right now the best thing is it's organic. I'm letting it develop itself as to what it'll be. I do interviews when I want to do interviews, you know, because I'm the Big O now, and that I'm going to stand on. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, man, well, how many days a week? At what time? I said, man, whenever I feel like talking to somebody, I'm going to put out an episode. Yeah. But my live, sometimes I just feel like talking to people, to our people, and I'll just go live from my desk. So hybrid show with studio show, pre-recorded. live show and everything else, and whatever Big O feel like popping it, Big O will pop it, and in between, catch people up from my desk. I'm gonna ask El Rock for some of this tape here, so I can go back and do a live show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and take some. That's how we help each other too. By
Absolutely.
the way. So
you guys' marketing is unmatched. I'm like,
that's because we're really a record label disguised as a media company, and when we pushing it like a brand new, and not this funny record. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the heyday. You heard me talk about AM1. I grew up, man, Rockefeller Records, Murder Inc., Rough Riders. You know what I'm saying? Def Soul, where you had to push a record, when you did a media run, when you went to radio. So, like, for me, that is how we're pushing this. You see what I'm saying? And that leaves you a few options. You know what those options are? There's 3 options. Lead, follow, or get out the way. That's
Period.
it. You know what I'm saying? Because we coming.
Oh my gosh, this has been so great. I want to, before we end this, what do you have, where do you see Converge in the next 5 years?
Man, all right. So where I see Converge, this is complex, but I'm going to keep it short. Well, so I will say this, because on a personal sense, for me, because I have been everywhere, 65 countries, and launched TV stations in Dubai, and private jets, and hanging out with Simon Cowell in the south of France and China and all that, I'm good.
Yeah.
But that's not fair for our stars. So me personally, I'm like, 5 years, either this belly's gonna be bigger or, or trimmer, one way or another.
Okay.
So me personally, I'm happy just putting our people on. Yeah. But we built a structure there, though, for the people who want to hit the stratosphere, kind of like a Besa or a Trana or our young people, or Mark tells you. Mm-hmm. And so what we want to do is we want to strengthen our relationship with national and international distribution platforms. We got an amazing relationship with Fox. So our deal with Fox is out of New York and LA. It's not with Fox 13 here in Seattle. So we got a deal with Fox 13. We have a deal with Fox First Run, which is the films.
Nice.
We got a deal with Fox Soul. And what we're looking for right now is we're in international distribution discussions for Besa showing or content. Yes. It turns out people around the world love Besa.
Period.
And especially over there in the continent of Africa, with those old relationships from years ago when I was on the hustle there, to put Besa and some of her content on DTT, which is digital terrestrial television, and also satellite television there, and some of our other programming. Now, as we see how the landscape is changing here and everything else, we really want to be able to position ourselves. We know that AI is coming and everything else. We want to just be able to position in that authenticity, because there's some things that the computer is just going to do great. But you know what the best thing is? We don't really rock with the computer at all. And because of that, now we know fools in other parts of our business, AI and all that kind of stuff is there. But we want to continue to position this authenticity that is there.
Yeah.
You feel me? And so, but at the same time, being able to position all of the people, if you want to go big, if you want to do it, and lots of people come to Converge and they springboard. They springboard to places like Getty, or they springboard to a major league team, or they springboard into film school, like Vonnie down at USC Film School, or Tavis who's down at Wake Forest. The biggest thing that I want to say 5 years from now is that Converge is still a place that's creating opportunity for people who have a passion for media.
Period.
If I could say that in 5 years, everything else is going to continue to take care of itself.
Man, if you guys do not know, Big O is like a visionary. He can anytime I talk to you, I'm always inspired. I always feel like you just paint the vision, and I'm like, I can see it. I can just reach out. It's going to be amazing every time. And this interview was nothing short of amazing. For the people who are watching, where can they find you? What you got going on?
Oh, yeah. What is this camera right here?
Right there.
Okay, so first of all, I'm everywhere like air.
Period.
I'm omnipresent.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You can reach out and grab your boy, you know what I'm saying, through the space and time continuum. If you're limited to things, though, like, the internet and everything else, then you can go to whereweconverge.com. You'll see the Big O Show right there. You feel me? On social media, It's Omari Saul, Omarisal. And everybody else, you know, if you're on that next level plane, just, you know, tap in telepathic. Okay, incoming call. And we're going to communicate like that. But you see what I'm saying? There's not a space, place, or time that you can't get at your boy. I'm here for
that's
it.
that CD looking, I'll never go away.
you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Hey. My mama used to always tell me, like, boy, I'm so glad you used that mouthpiece for good. You know what I'm saying? She'd be like, son, ooh, I'm glad that you use all the words that you know for good, son. I say, yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you again. It has been an absolute honor. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Legendary Dope Show. This has been very, very special. And remember, you guys, there are two things that never go out of style: being legendary and being dope. You guys have a good one.